Okay, thanks for inviting me here today. I really love talking about this subject, and if you ever ask somebody if there's some subject you can talk about for a half hour without even thinking about it, I can tell you I could probably talk about networking for about a week before I. It's something I love to do, and I've done it for a long time. And I was telling somebody out there earlier, at one point I belonged to 13 chambers at once.
Oh, wow.
I was doing 9 to 15 networking events a week. I do not recommend that. It's nuts. I burned out, but I have been networking for so long. I was networking before it was cool. So I've been to many groups like this. In fact, I belonged to a the tip group back in the 1990s. And just recently I needed a tree removed. I called the guy that I knew from back in the 90s at a tip group, and he came and did my tree. So that's just, okay. So I want to cover a bunch of stuff really quick. So let's try to save the questions for the end. And hopefully if I can talk really fast, I can do this in 15 minutes. I have a half hour, right? And this biggest thing to let you know is networking isn't about you. It's not about you. You're not going to a networking event to make a sale. You're not going to a networking event to walk away with sales. You are building relationships. Networking events is all about relationships. If you're going into a networking event with a handful of business cards or whatever, and in the idea that you're going to sell to everybody and walk out, forget it. It's not going to work. And the people in the room are not going to like it. They're not going to have a good time, and you're not going to be invited back. So it's not about you. It's about building relationships. Okay, so we need to come to, I want to talk mainly about this group, this type of group, referral groups, because these referral groups are a little bit different than if you're walking into a chamber event, okay? So you need to attend each week with the intent to engage. You need to be prepared with a mindset before you walk in. I like the mirror in my car. I like to talk to her. And she's got a name. Her name is Nancy. And I talk to Nancy, and I can practice my introduction with Nancy. And so you need to have the mindset before you walk in. You want to be ready. You want to walk in on time. Now, on time means on time to network, not on time to eat lunch. Okay, there's a difference. You're gonna miss all the abilities to talk to people if you just come in for lunch and your main concern is, oh, what am I going to have for lunch today? Which people do that. Okay, you want to talk to everybody in the room. Try to talk to everybody in the room. Don't have the guests sitting at one end and the members at the other, and people are not communicating and talking. So if you are coming early and you want to talk, and say Tiffany and Janet are in a conversation, and you really want to meet Tiffany because she's a guest and they're in a conversation, you want to walk up, give enough space so you don't interrupt or intrude. Wait a nice period of time. If they don't let you in, which they should, and you guys need to let somebody else in the conversation, then you can, and then get into the conversation. While you're waiting, don't play a tennis tournament. Okay, you're not going to go to see which group is going to open up first and you go talk to. Okay, because if you do this, I know it's silly and it's annoying. So don't do that. Just wait your turn. If they're going to continue talking, walk away. They'll come back to find you, or you come back when they're done. Okay, but try to get to talk to everybody in the room. And just barging in on conversation is not a good thing. In my book, it tells you about these types of people, characters. There's 7 of them. And it's kind of funny, so you want to read the book. So You also want to know about the guests, not just, oh, let me see, this person does this, I'm not going to talk to them. That person does that, I'm not going to talk. You need to know about them because it's not just you again, all right? And you want to be able to refer them to others. So if you don't know what they do, you can't refer them. So you want to get to know more about them, or not for just you, but for them. You want to have, if it's your turn for a vendor table, you need to have a nice vendor table, not 2 flyers laid out on the table flat and hope somebody walks by. You got to give some more. I'm going to talk a little bit more about the vendor table, and Susan already took a video of the vendor table to put into your trainings to give you some ideas on the vendor table. Come in the room on a mission. You want to come in with authority and that you're here to do business. This is something you do every week because you're spending a lot of money to be here. This is a way to grow your business. And if you come in lackadaisical and not interested, then that's probably what people think you're going to run your business as. And you want people to refer to you, so you want to make it so that it's easy to do that. Okay. Number 2 is inviting guests. You want to invite guests. You want to invite guests often. You want to invite them all the time. But you want somebody that's a fit. So you want people that are in the open categories, but you want someone that's going to work for the group because that's how the group grows. And so you go by the 3-3-3 rule. Okay. They need to have at least 3 people in the group they can refer to. They have to have 3 people in the group that can refer to them. And if you've got openings, you want to have 2, if you have 2 or 3 of those openings, also has to be available to refer to them or be referable. You get what I'm saying? You got a lot of blank looks. I'm not quite sure, but can't read this script. Okay, so the 3-3-3 rule is really important because if there's not 3 other people in the room that you can get referrals from, you're going to get frustrated really quick and you're not going to stay. Okay, and so when you're inviting guests, ask them to go to the website and check to see if the 3-3 rule works for them. All right, before they come, because otherwise you bring in somebody, giving them a free lunch, and they're not going to come anyway because it's not going to fit. Okay. Display tables. I have a very fun display table out there. I would not set the display table quite like that for another time, but because I've got 2 or 3 businesses on there. But you want to have highs and lows. You want to have things for people to come to the table and want to look at it. Chocolate is always one of the really good things. Always have chocolate, because even if they don't do anything else, they're going to touch the table and take chocolate. And if you have products that sell to women, have chocolate. We like chocolate. We'll look at it. If you're trying to sell to men, put toys and games and car parts on there. Keep going. All right. You want highs and lows. If you got a flat flyer, put it in a picture frame. Okay, so then that stands it up. If you got flyers, you'll notice I have flyers and cards. They're not laying flat on the table, they're in a holder. You want to have reason to get people to leave business cards. I have some cards on there with little soldier angels on them. If you leave a business card, you get to have one of those cards. Okay. Raffle prizes is a good other reason. If they put a card in, they're in the drawing for a raffle prize. If you want to get cards. Now we're a referral group, so you're going to get cards all the time anyway, right? But the guests aren't going to get those cards. And you're going to receive the cards from the guests at your vendor table more likely than what you're gonna get in the circle. Am I good with that? Okay. Play a game. You know, have a question or something that they have to answer. It gives them reason to look at. I like the QR code idea. So if you want to buy my book, I have a QR code on the table. All right, so you take a picture of the QR code and you can buy the book. Now, if you say, oh, well, how do I do a QR code? Well, this morning I went and I Googled QR codes and it said QR code free generation. It took me less than 3 minutes to make the QR code, print it out on a Word document, and I have it on my table. Okay, so that's a great, easy thing that you can do. Decorations, I got lights, things that are just going to draw attention for them to come and look at it. If you do these vendor tables often with the same group, don't make it the exact same every time. Do something different. If you did product A in that last time, this time do product B. Do something, and then as members, don't just walk past the table like, oh, I knew that person already. I don't want to see it. I mean, I'm not going to even look. I know. No, look. There might be something new on there. There might be a surprise on there. Maybe they have a really cool gift you're going to lose out on because you just walk on by. So, you know, they took the time to set up the vendor table. You should take the time to look at it. And the fourth thing is recommendations. If you're doing things based on referrals around here, in order to really, if somebody said something good about what you've done, you're more likely to get more referrals. If I said, okay, I went to Aaron's business. He did this great cleaning for me of my house and wonderful stuff and blah, 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 blah. Then you're going to want to know more about it. So if you got a place on your website or a way to do it in your meeting, really push the recommendations. The recommendations are key. Now, I've taught referral selling forever. In my business right now, I do very little marketing because it's all based on referrals. So I would rather have 10 people that give me referrals than just 10 clients. Mm-hmm. Okay, so referrals are big. Refer to each other constantly, because that's how you grow. Win-win-win concept is to put others first with no expectations. Share always, refer others often, and you can see them grow, and then you will grow and others will grow. So that's what I got. We have questions. We've got 5 minutes left. Oh, well, 5 minutes for questions. I did that fast. You did that really fast.
Janice, can you repeat your 333?
3 people that you can refer to, 3 people that can refer to you, and in the open categories, if there's, you know, if there's only 3 open categories, how many that, you know, percentage of that can refer to.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
basically, that's what threw me off. I was like, I understand that. Right.
I just wanted to add on to that for the members of this group. We tell our members, don't pre-qualify a guest. Mm-hmm. Don't try to figure out their 333 for them, because I think several years ago, I always remember this, it is Carolyn Hagan, who was she was an active member at the Posture Women's Network. She does balloon twisting. When you go to a group like this, how well can she do? And she actually did pretty well as a member. I think she had a referral from Greg's office within an hour of her first visit. She wasn't even a member yet. So for the guests, I would say, or for the members, don't pre-qualify. And for the guests, the reason is you're going to come here and say, okay, this is a good fit for me or not. It's up to you to decide if this is a good fit. So we don't want as members not to invite you because we don't think it's a good fit. I'm going to add to that.
Okay. Somebody with balloon twisting, anybody can use. I just retired the balloon lady in Sacramento 2 weeks ago. I had been her since 1995. And anybody can use balloons, that's fun business. So any other questions? No,
What do you want to
question?
talk about? When you meet somebody at a networking event, what's the best way to approach them about inviting them to a group like this?
Oh, you know what a fun thing is if you know they have other groups and stuff, say, hey, if you come to my group, I'll go to yours. That's a fun one. That's something you can do. So then you bring them here and you go to theirs. You just simple ask, what kind of,
Here's a question.
okay. Good.
Your audio is kind of breaking up, so. You froze. Uh-oh, technology. Right? Kathleen, you froze if you can hear us and your audio isn't coming through.
I love this concept of since COVID that you still do hybrid and you have both. But I also recommend the more you can do it in person instead of there. You're missing.
Kathleen, the internet is not working.
The email or.
Yeah,
you check.
if you want to text one of us. Yeah, because you're really bad. So are you, Rich? You might want to pop out and pop back in. Internet's unstable.
It says.
And then there's a technical. Oh, we lost Rick. Rick, I think is going to try and come back.
Can
you guys for me?
Oh,
Yeah, now we can.
that's okay. Go ahead.
Susan, can you hear me now?
Yeah, a little better. Go ahead.
Can you hear us?
Now she's.
But you can't hear us.
So while we're waiting for that, just for our guests, so normally we have two of our members featured, there's like 7 minutes each, so they get to really explain a lot more about what they do. We each get 30 seconds during the course of the meeting, but we spotlight 2 members, and your schedule is kind of through rotation. We asked Janice to come as a guest speaker today, so that's in lieu of that. So we'll pick up our program again next week. So if you're interested to see the real program in all its glory, you're invited to come back and check us out.
I can add one more thing is,
You guys hear me?
I call them commercials. I don't call them commercials. I call them introductions because a commercial introduction is a greeting to, so you get to know people. I do work on introductions with people. So if you want to improve your introduction, I would be willing to do that with you on a one-to-one basis. We'll sit down for an hour and work on it. I normally charge $90 an hour, but for this group, I would do it for 60 if anybody wants to work on their introduction. Introduction should change a little bit each time. Okay, are you ready?
So how do you recommend we follow up with guests or people we meet at a networking function?
You call them, you email, you text, whatever is convenient is a way of choice. And the next usual question is when, if they don't respond, how long do you do it? Do you do it 1, 2, 3 times? No, you keep going. Until they say, no, stop, do not call me again. You keep going. You do not stop until they say, enough. Yes.